Hello, and welcome to the Diva Talks live show. I am your host, the Diva. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe we are a week and a half away from Christmas, but we're here. And I have the special guest that is, you'll understand what I'm talking about as soon as I introduce her. But I'm just so excited that she's here. She took the time out her busy schedule, and she is definitely busy. But without further ado, help me welcome my special guest, Miss Juanita Green. Hey,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm doing well, Diva. How are you?
I'm doing well. Before we get into it, because I like to keep my promises, I have to tag your dad. Your mom is watching, but I have to tag your dad because I said that I was going to do that. So give me a second to do that. And
Okay.
so I won't get in trouble. And because I keep my okay, so I see everybody on here except for your dad's name. I see your mom and your brother who I interview, but I don't see your dad. I'm trying to
Okay.
tag him. I can't.
He's
So,
probably watching it with mom anyway.
okay, well, hopefully he is. Hey, mom. Hey, dad. Oh, sis, how are you?
I'm doing well, hanging in there. It's the holiday season. Holiday
Yeah.
seasons can be tough.
Yes. Well, you are the perfect person to talk about the holiday seasons and how we get through those. And we're going to dive into that in a moment. But before we get started, I need to give you my condolences once again, for your your grandmother who you just buried on Friday.
Yeah.
Beautiful woman. Beautiful.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
94 years old.
Yes. Yes.
94. She was such a beautiful lady, just beautiful skin, beautiful hair, just everything about her I love. And I'm so happy that you guys shared her with me. I had the honor and privilege of hosting and coordinating her 90th birthday party.
Which
Thank you.
was
Thank you. Thank you.
amazing and so much fun.
It surely was. We had a great time. We had a great time.
We talked
But
about that
again,
party for a long time.
I know. I think your mom had mentioned said she was like, "Am I having another party? When am I having another party?" So I am so grateful for that. So thank you. But yes, my condolences to you and the entire
Thank
family.
you. Thank you.
Yes. So I have to ask, where is Honey Bunches? And
Honey
tell
Bunches.
people who that is.
So Honey Bunches is my son, who I am not the mom who knows how many months their child is, but he is almost 2. He'll be 2 in April. Uh,
Well, I like that.
so
I like that. It's like, well, how old is your 21? It's like, wait a minute. Okay, so 24 is 2. So that okay, one and a half.
right, right.
He
So
is
he's with my
adorable.
parents right now, his Pop Pop and Gonki, as
Oh my
their nephew.
goodness. Now, you said Poppy and Ganki?
Pop Pop and Gonki is what my parents are called.
I love it. I love it. I love these names. I am so, oh my goodness, too funny. I did get a chance to see family that was here in town for the funeral. As you know, I interviewed your brother. He's totally awesome. And so it's just like one big family with you. I met your mom first, and the support that her and your dad give me, and it just spills over and it just continues. So I love you guys.
Yes, we love you too.
Well, thank you. So now tell the world, because I know all about you, and we can just talk like we're sitting at my dining room table, which we normally do with a nice glass of wine. But tell everybody who Juanita is.
Okay, that question. So I am Juanita Louise Green, and I am a licensed mental health counselor in the state of New York. So other titles under that is a psychotherapist, therapist, counselor, all the above, a mental health counselor. Um, I've been in the field post-graduate school for about close to 8 years now. Started, let's see, my undergraduate career was actually in Columbus, Ohio, at Ohio Dominican University, where I received my bachelor's of science in psychology with a minor of sociology. And then I came back home to Canisius for graduate school, where I got my master's of science in um, clinical counseling and mental health and clinical counseling. And after that, that's how my journey started. I went through Horizon Health Services, Beacon Center. I was the interim director at Duval College Counseling Center for the students there. I've worked at UB for a little bit, and currently I'm doing some contracted work and focusing on private practice.
So you just smart.
Oh no, no,
You just smart.
no, my brother is the smart one. I'm the one
Oh,
who always had to like Diva.
ah,
I would have to study for a long time. Like things did not come easy to me, but I was persistent, you know.
that's key. That is key, and that's okay. That is key. I mean, in the field that you are in, I mean, really, mental health counselor. So let's break that down.
Mhm.
What do you do?
So basically, especially in private practice, I see individuals who are dealing with a whole host of things. Some of my I guess some of my specialties would be under depression and anxiety. I also am a marriage and family therapist, so I see quite a few couples. Um, and sometimes I see their teenagers as well, and then see them as a family as a whole. So I work on a lot of different things. So, for instance, with family systems, we're dealing with maybe there's one person in the family who is dealing with depression and anxiety or another mental health diagnosis, and the family needs to learn how to help cope with it, how to help support them. I do a lot of those type of things, and then an individual. I've actually been seeing a lot of grief and loss lately.
Mm,
As we know, with the pandemic, there has been a lot of loss, unfortunately. So I've been dealing with a lot of people experiencing grief and loss, sometimes for the first time, or multiple people who have passed away in their life. So the grief and loss area has been a bit saturated, unfortunately. And again, dealing with mostly depression, anxiety, and we can get into some deeper psychosis.
mhm.
I do also work with trauma clients. So I am a trauma informed therapist. So that means I have a lot of clients who have dealt with childhood trauma, domestic violence, sexual assault, um, and even things just being assaulted in general, being a part of a crime or a witness to a crime, things of that nature. I also work with.
Wow. Okay, so I want to back up a little bit. You mentioned depression and you mentioned anxiety. Um, some would seem to think that they're one and the same. How
Mhm.
can you tell if you have one or the other?
Mhm. So that is a really good question because they definitely do go hand in hand. I myself, I am a therapist who has her own therapist, so I see my therapist at least twice a month. And I actually struggle with anxiety myself, diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. So typically, what you see with anxiety is more of a hyper focused person. So, for instance, my anxiety manifests with reoccurring thoughts. Okay.
Mm,
So if I'm dealing with something, let's say something big coming up. For instance, I just had to figure out how I was going to afford health insurance and things because I am working for myself. So a lot of the times, my brain is kind of just popping up with these questions while I'm trying to, work throughout the day, while I'm trying to play with my son, while I'm trying to do different types of things. So I have to figure out different coping skills and coping mechanisms to get through my day, especially when I'm trying to be 100% present for other people.
mhm.
Because again, like I love my job, but I also deal with my own things. So learning how to cope with that. So other people's anxiety can manifest through physical or physiological features. So sweating, heart racing. Some individuals can have anxiety attacks where they can start hyperventilating, or panic attacks when they start hyperventilating. We all experience some form of anxiety, right? So
Mhm, mhm.
that's typically your anxiety with the ruminating thoughts. Some people are anxious to the point where they're overcompensating for things. For instance, so at work they might say yes to everything because they feel like they have to do everything.
Mhm.
Where in actuality, it's like you have to learn to say no a bit so you can relax, recharge to be able to do each one of those things, adequately and at 100% to your ability. So then if we get into depression is more, lack of motivation, a sense of sadness. Individuals who have a severe level of depression might have difficulties getting up out of the bed, right? So I have clients who deal with depression where some of our goals for the week is simply them being able to brush their teeth in the morning. Sometimes it can be that draining for a person to just simply get up out of the bed. Depression can also include the cycle of thoughts as well. Sometimes those thoughts deal with suicide, sometimes those thoughts deal with pain, sometimes those thoughts deal with um just like things that have been happening in their life in the moment, things that they can't run away from, individuals who have experienced, multiple hardships on top of each other. And honestly, you don't have to be going through any specific thing to deal with anxiety or depression, right? Because then we also have another layer, and that's a chemical imbalance within
Right,
your
but
brain.
let me stop you right there, Juanita, because this is very important before I let you go on, because this is one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show specifically tonight. For all those who are watching, please share, not only for your chance to win, because you will be able to win. We'll have 3 winners actually, but because this information is so important, and it's important for everybody, especially the season that we are living in today. So please, please, please share. If you've never shared any one of my videos, I encourage you to please share this video tonight. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Diva. So it doesn't necessarily need to have a specific situation for a person to be experiencing anxiety and depression. Um, you can have simply a chemical imbalance within your brain, and I can get into the science of it, but that when we put people to sleep. Um, so
Yeah.
in those, in those instances, there could be a possibility of utilizing medication from your primary care physician or other things. I am a holistic therapist, so I love trying every aspect before diving right into medication, right? I want us to try coping skills. I want us to try working out. I want us to try yoga. I want us to try so many different things. But if you're recognizing that your depression or anxiety is only getting a little better and not really lifting, that's when you want to look into longer term treatments like medication or other things because
Mhm.
something else might be going on.
Wow. So now, okay, so growing up, it wasn't that my family say, they didn't say you can't talk to a therapist or you can't talk to a psychiatrist. They never said that, but it was just almost like when you're going through something, you would either talk to an elder person or your pastor, first lady, or a teacher that you trust. Um, it was almost like if you were talking to a therapist or a psychiatrist, there was something mentally wrong with you. Um, let's speak a little bit about that, because now in the generation that we're living in now, it's spoke about all the time. You have your TV people, basketball players, football players. They're encouraging to go and speak to someone. And for me, it's almost like a two-part question. Um, why would we talk to someone that we don't know? And what's
Okay.
what's good about that?
Ooh, so we can do a deep dive in that. A little bit of deep dive. So in the Black community specifically, because I grew up in the church too, I am a firm believer now that you can have Jesus and a therapist, praise the Lord, and talk on this couch, like both. But but that is also how we kind of grew up too. Everything was about you go to God, you pray,
Mhm.
it'll get through. Like take all your burdens to the Lord, put them on the
Right,
altar, and you got it, right?
right, right,
No,
right.
that's not always the thing. Yes, pray. I'm a big firm believer in praying and giving it to God and having a church home and all of those different things. However, there are people like me who specialize in these different topics, right? I went to school for 7 years to basically do what I need to do, right? And on top of that, I continue education credits where I stay on top of different treatments, I stay on top of different therapies, new things that are happening in the world, so I can adequately help my clientele. So I would say that's the most important reason. Yes, definitely. I support going to the elders, going to your pastor, going to your first lady, especially if they are people of support and trust. And at the same time, it's okay to also seek counsel with a professional. because we have a specific background in that. Like, I mean, don't come to me asking for specific scriptures, because I might just be able to give you only my favorite. But
Okay.
if you want help with some coping skills and you want to go through some trauma, or you want to process things, I understand and know how to create a safe space for that.
And obviously, we're going to get all your information at the end of the show. So it's Christmas time and COVID, loss of jobs, loss of businesses. Um, what do you say to someone who is coming to you who has lost their job? Because you still have a job, obviously. So what do you tell them, if you could share that?
Oh yeah, I can definitely share those things. And honestly, I lost my job in the pandemic as well. That's kind of how
Mm,
I got into uh a leap sooner than I thought into private practice. I honestly thought I would retire from Duville College, but they had eliminated my position with everything that had been happening. Um, so when people come to me with all the devastation, one, I meet them where they're at, right? Like, sometimes some individuals need to just come in and process
mm,
and just talk about exactly what they are going through. Some aren't ready to dig into it and figure out solutions. But I also always have my bag of resources and solutions when I need to, right? Whether that is unemployment resources, rather that is, you know, food pantries, shelters, like things like that. I'm going to do my best I can to help the individuals find the things that they need, and also just help try to reignite that motivation, right? Because when we have
mhm,
lost all these different things, jobs, family, friends, just people in general, it's really hard to keep that motivation. So
mhm.
I make sure to try to leave my clients with, because therapy can be hard, right? Therapy can be very emotionally draining. It
I
can
bet.
be it can be a lot, especially depending on what you're working through. So I try to always leave my clients with some sense of hope and motivation, and also help them know that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to be struggling through this time, because even though the world is still pushing its way on and it's orbiting around everything, you know, people in your life love you and want to support you, and we can figure this out together.
That's I like that. Figure it out together. Now you mentioned something about family and marriage counseling. I know there's a lot of TV shows where they have the counselor, and it's married couples and things of that nature. How does one, speak with a married, again, going back to the old school, you go to marriage counseling before you get married and things of that nature. How does that work for you? What advice, or who
Mhm.
comes to you for help for that?
So I get a lot of referrals because I already see quite a few couples. So I typically get referrals from the couples that I have already seen. And a lot of it is dealing with, communication issues, infidelity, trust issues, all types of things in marriages, the changes after you have a baby.
Mm,
So everything kind of like under the sun in regards to couple situations is something that I deal with as a marriage and family therapist as well. Um, and we kind of work through that a lot, especially with this pandemic, with people being under lockdown. it has
yeah.
brought out it has brought out some things that some people did not know about their partners, right? So just trying to work together to figure out their goal as a couple. So sometimes I literally have some couples that come to me who are going through a divorce, or I have some couples who come to me who are going through a separation, trying to figure out, do we want to actually stay together, or do we want to split apart? And if we do, how can we do that amicably? Right. And I really do applaud those couples who really try to work through that, even if it is the end goal is separating or breaking up. And I love the couples who are trying to work through it and trying to, stay together. So it really depends on the situation. A lot of times the husbands or the wives reached out to me, and not to throw pronouns out there, but I have not worked with same-sex couples or non-binary couples yet. That is not in my wheelhouse just yet, even though I do have the trainings for that. So yeah, so I work with all types of couples, and they come to me literally right now from referral sources.
Wow. 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 What made you want to do this?
Mm. That's a big question. What? Um, okay, so the first time I was in a psychology class was at Mount St. Mary's Academy, which is the high school that I went to. Fell in love with it. I myself have a comprehension disability, so like a mild form of learning disability. So like math and other sciences did not always connect with me. But when I sat in that psychology course and learned about personality and all of those different things, I'm like, ooh, I like this. So when I got into college, it was like, okay, I'm gonna go for psychology. So that's how I got into a minor of psychology and or a major of psychology, minor in sociology. And then towards the end of my college career, I actually went through a bout of depression myself. So
Mm.
I was the student that like did everything on campus. I was an RA. I had an internship at the counseling center at my college. I was a part of the Black Student Union. I did too much. And it was a period of time where I had lost 3 family members in the span of 3 months. One was due to a murder. One of my cousins was a baby. And then on top of it, I found out that the person I was seeing at the time, like, cheated on me with a
Oh
bunch of
my
people.
God.
So being a 19-year-old, like,
It's a
junior
lot.
in, in college and away from my parents, it was a lot. So that was like the first time I stepped into a counseling center. And in that chair, in that seat, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do what you are doing for me.
Who
Okay.
encouraged you to go? Who encouraged you to go?
So actually I kind of went on my own
Okay.
because I was like, I don't feel good. I don't feel good.
Mm.
This is I felt I wasn't me. I'm typically on top of things. Like I'm a studier. If you went on campus, people would be like, Juanita is either in the library or in her dorm room, like
Mhm,
one of the
mhm.
other. But I wasn't getting out of bed. I wasn't responding to my residents. My residents were like, Juanita, what's wrong? Are you okay? It was a tough time. So I said, I think I need to go talk to somebody. And I talked to the therapist at my college, who's actually still one of my mentors today. Her name is Ann Lombardi. Um,
Wow.
and she met with me. She helped me grieve the losses because a lot of the funerals I couldn't get back home to because I couldn't leave school.
Mm.
So it was a lot. It was a lot. So that's how I got here, is through my own experience with experiencing depression, a lot of things happening on top of each other, and experiencing sitting on the couch and having my own therapist.
So, is there a time frame that you set up at the beginning for counseling, or how do you figure out I'm okay?
So what we do as therapists is treatment plan. So by about the third or fourth appointment, that's when I kind of recognize, okay, is there a diagnosis here? Um, and we figure out their goal. So it depends on the client. So I really have some people who have been with me since I was at Duville. I've had some people come with me and I've gone through different stages of life. I've had people who have taken breaks from therapy when they feel like, okay, Juanita, I've gotten everything that I've needed. I've developed these coping skills. I developed these, this confidence in myself. I think I'm okay. And then maybe a year later, a life transition happens and it gets challenging. And then they might pop back in for like a maintenance appointment or anything like that. So I always say that, I don't have one specific way I work with all clients. I work with my clients in their specific way because it's not cookie cutter. So, like I said, I have clients who come to me with trauma. Childhood trauma
Mhm.
can take a long time to work with. But then I have clients who are, dealing with transitioning to a different job, dealing with postpartum after having a child. Those things might not last as long as someone dealing with trauma. So it really depends on what you're coming in for and being seen with, and really working with your therapist because we are only the passengers. Like our clients are the drivers, and we are in the car trying to help you figure out the map. So you all have, say so in your treatment as well.
So I can't believe we only have 5 minutes left, but I have to get this out. So you mentioned earlier, that you do have a counselor yourself. So life experiences, what have you experienced that you talk
You mean
about,
counseling?
when you go to your counselor, not your personal, but how do you
Whew.
decipher the two? It's sort of kind of hard because I'm like, I know that you're human, you have your stressful moments, but then your job is like 24/7. So it's like you
Right.
don't turn it off. So how do you deal with that?
Well, I do turn it off. And
Good.
that's why I do have a therapist. My clients do know how to reach me if there's a crisis, and I also have other resources for crises. A lot of things I talk about with my therapist now is, I'm actually a single mom. So I'm also myself going through a divorce,
Mhm.
and dealing with ending a long-term relationship. And that's been my major goal in working through in therapy right now. And also the grief of my grandmother. Um, so dealing with my own stuff has been a little bit challenging, and I also have a wonderful support system and my parents and my big brother, my son's godmother Alicia, like my sister Melody. I have an amazing support system, so that's how I get through it too. So I do learn how to turn off the level of empathy that I give to clients, because I do have to take care of myself, especially like I'm dating now, I'm getting back out there. So
Ooh,
trying to navigate all these new stages of life is just it's a lot. So I do appreciate my therapist.
okay. Awesome. You snuck that in there about the dating, but we're going to leave that alone. We'll talk off camera about that. Okay. Yay. Um, Wow, I have so many questions here that we could just go on and on because this is so important. But I just have to ask, during this holiday season, and being in the middle of a pandemic, something that we never thought that we would ever see,
Mhm.
what do you say to all of us? What can you tell us how to deal with this?
I say to utilize your supports, you know, even if it's just that one friend that you can call, that one person that will be there for you, utilize them. If you need to talk to somebody, do that. There are even hotlines that you can call. Diva, I can send you a bunch of hotlines that you can
Yes.
post on your website,
Yes.
um, that people can call and talk to anonymous people. But the most important thing, at least, especially that I've learned through this season, through going through a divorce, through being a single mom of a toddler, recognizing your support system is so important, and recognizing that there are people who love you and who want to be there for you even when we feel like no one is there. Really look into yourself and say, like, can I talk to someone? Because yes, you actually can. You actually can. So I really encourage people to reach out to that support, reach out to that family member, reach out to that friend, even if you're just not okay, and just say, like, I'm not okay and I need to talk to someone.
Awesome. 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 And if they wanted to talk to you, how can one reach you? How does your services work?
You can find me on my Facebook page at Juanita Green. It's just Juanita Green. My email address is Juanita, so it's Juanita, the letter L, the letter G, and J at gmail.com. So that's Juanita LGJ at gmail.com. You can also find me on the Psychology Today website, which is a great website for people to look up therapists in the area. So yeah, I think that's most of my contact information.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. And I don't think I need to say that, but everything is confidential because obviously we didn't call
Yes.
names tonight. We didn't speak of anybody in general. This was just something
Mhm.
that everybody could use. I know that I can. I am so happy that you were my guest tonight because um, we all know that Jesus is the reason for the season, but then at the same time,
Mhm.
you get so worked up because we're a week and a half away from Christmas. Some of us are done, and I'm not one of those people who are done. But I used to be one of those people who tried to buy gifts for everybody. I would rob
Mhm.
Peter and Paul. Don't know how I'm gonna pay neither one of them back, but that was the life that I used to live because it was Christmas. You had to do this, and then when Christmas was over, now you have to figure out, how do I pay back
These
what
right.
I didn't have in the first place? Or how do I pay the
Exactly.
bills that I should have paid in the first place? And so I'm glad that I'm out of that. But in doing that, you find yourself depressed or you find yourself
Mhm.
angry. And for me, I did a lot of soul searching. I did a lot of,
Yes.
talking and just looking
Right.
and I threw it up against the wall until I got it right. And I thank God that
Mhm.
I got it right because people are still going to love you whether you get them a gift or not, if they genuinely love you. And
Exactly.
that's just where I had to be. You can't, and I don't give just on Christmas. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And so that's why I wanted to do the show, to let people know that if you're not where I'm at right now, because it took me a while to get there. It took me a while to get
Mhm.
there. And don't get me wrong, I still, I have a daughter, I have godchildren, I have family, and we still celebrate Christmas and we do what we can. But that's the key. You do what you
What
can.
you can. Mhm.
And so, but again, everyone is not there. You have people who don't have jobs,
Mhm.
so many different things that's going on. And if you just really look at what you need to be thankful and grateful for, it
Mhm.
doesn't involve cash.
Right.
That's for me in my world. But if you're still dealing with it and you need to make sure that everybody has a gift, all 700 people, and you don't have money for that, and you're dealing with the depression or you're dealing with something, speaking to someone such as yourself is a great idea. It
I
really,
can help
really
you
is.
figure out those boundaries.
And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I do appreciate you being on. Don't you go nowhere.
Thank you, Diva.
To my virtual guest, today is my last show for the year of 2021.
Mm.
I will be back bigger and better in January of 2022. January 11th will be the first show. Again, I learned how to take breaks. And this is a very, very well deserved break. I say that for myself, that I need just to gather my thoughts, um, love on my baby who's coming home, love on my family, and love on me. And just get some things together. Corey and I, we have some big things coming up in the new year, and I have to really get my mind right for that. And so I like to give 100+% in any and everything that I'm doing. So I'm just going to take a couple of weeks off from the Diva Talks live show. But again, I'll be back bigger and better. But I want to thank you for being such a great support all year. I cannot believe it's already over a year. And for those who are here every single week or go back and watch the replay, you didn't have to, but I'm sure glad that you did. And I'm so thankful for you. And I appreciate you. I want to thank Boss Lady for always being here, setting the scene, doing what she does, doing it. I'm going to say it again. She's being honored. The weekend is finally here. She's being honored on Friday. And I say she deserves that award. She deserves that award. Keep her lifted in the family as well as David. DA on the case. You already know. Keep them lifted up in prayer. I want to say happy birthday on Thursday to my assistant, Maureen, my first lady as well. She will be celebrating her birthday on Thursday. My godson, he will be celebrating his birthday. My A1, my mom, she would have been celebrating her birthday on Christmas Eve and cannot forget the best for last. My baby, DJ Corey, will be celebrating his birthday on New Year's Eve. All the way, he always puts himself last, and his birthday is at the very end of the year. Just thank everybody. Thank everybody. Listen, love on yourself. Even if you want to shop, buy something for yourself. We have to love on ourselves. We are losing so many people daily. I would like to send condolences out once again to the Green and Anderson family, as well as the King family. My good girlfriend, sister friend Erin lost her grandbaby, 9 years old. So that right there, that just sends chills. So my condolences to each and everyone who have lost a loved one at any point, especially during this pandemic. My heart goes out to you. I just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and you have to know to find your happy space. And when you do, make sure you stay there. It's the best place to be. I'll see you guys in 2022. Be safe. God bless.